name's Wardell. I am a growth hacker. We're going to be talking about growth hacking tonight. Can I get, by way of a show of hands, who here would consider themselves very new to online marketing and is here to learn a few things tonight? A few people? Who here is a pretty seasoned expert, knows everything there is? There we go, there's always a few. Excellent. Alrighty, so to kick things off, I would like everybody in the room, there's about, 60 or 70 tonight? Awesome, maybe not. Can you pretend you're a pirate for a second? And what I want you to do is on the count of 3, I want you to give it your biggest, piratiest best and show the people downstairs that we can actually make some noise too and say, "Arr." 1, 2, 3. Arr. That was awesome. Yes. Excellent. So, R is what growth hackers do because R stands for this. Acquisition, activation, retention, revenue, referral. This is called a growth hacker funnel, and this is essentially the same model that applies to every single online business. These are all the steps that a customer needs to go through in your business. So for example, acquisition is how users find you. Do they Google something and you show up in the search results? Do they click on an ad somewhere? Are they reading a blog post somewhere and your website is linked in there, in that blog post? And once people find out about your website and arrive there, what do they do next? Do they sign up? Do they join a mailing list? Do they browse a few products and maybe add something to a cart? That step is called activation, and that's really crucial because that is basically a customer giving you permission to contact them again. After they've activated and they've done something on your website, the next step is retention, and that's how do we get them to come back and engage and keep on building out that relationship. And once they've come back a few times, how do we get them to start paying money, and how do we get them to bring other users to this website? So this is our, I've like to say I came up with it. I'm not that smart. I borrowed from a guy called Dave McClure. He had a really famous presentation. It's on SlideShare, I believe. It's called Pirate Metrics for Startups. So I reckon you should check that out if you get a chance. So what we're doing here is we're thinking about our businesses as a sequence of steps. And once we start thinking about it as a sequence of steps and we start measuring what happens in between those steps, we can experiment and we can play around with things. So if we know that all of the people who are coming to our website, 10% of them will sign up for a free trial, and of those 10%, 1% will come back and use it on a daily basis, and of that 1%, 0.5% will actually end up paying us money. Once you know the numbers and we're measuring every single one of those steps, we can start running some tests and some experiments to figure out what we can do to improve those numbers. That's what a growth hacker does. A question I get asked quite often is the difference between a growth hacker and an online marketer. A lot of the stuff that growth hacking involves is product-centric. It involves making changes to the product. Most online marketing is pretty much related to acquisition, a little bit of activation, and no retention, revenue, referral, maybe a little bit of referral, really gets covered by an online marketer. So online marketing is a subset of growth hacking. Growth hacking is a much bigger, broader discipline. The people who do it can come from a whole variety of backgrounds. They tend to be oddball generalists with a whole bunch of really disparate skill sets. I've seen people come from sales and customer service. I've also seen people come from a really heavy technical developer background too. It doesn't really matter where you come from as long as you start developing a whole bunch of growth hacker specific skills. So for everybody to get some value out of today, I don't want to get bogged down too much in theory, because there's theory everywhere. What I've found that is most practical is for us to go through some real life growth hacks that you can apply to your startup business tomorrow, even if you don't have a whole lot of money. So the topic of this presentation is 5 low-cost growth hacks that startups can use even if they have no money. Has anyone here got a startup? Show of hands? A few. Excellent. Cool. Okay, so we're going to cover 3 in the acquisition stage, and 2 in the activation stage, which is usually where most startups are interested in improving their numbers. So if you use all 5 of these steps, you should see some better results. Growth hack number 1 is using retargeting creatively. Has anyone not heard of retargeting? Be honest. A few? Yes? Cool. For those people who haven't heard of retargeting, have you ever found yourself on a website, you maybe looked at a pair of shoes, didn't buy it, opened up a new tab, and about 5 minutes later you're on Facebook and you notice that pair of shoes is over on the right-hand side stalking you around the internet? That is retargeting, and essentially it works like this. You visit a website, that website drops a cookie, which is basically a little bit of code that sits in your browser that remembers that you visited that page. And then anytime you go to a website that shows display ads, they can check for that cookie and say, okay, serve up this particular ad. That's retargeting, basic online marketing tool for generating traffic. Where it gets interesting is what you can do with it. So, 96% of visitors who come to a website for the first time won't buy. It doesn't matter how amazing your product is, how amazing your price is, they're just not quite ready to buy. So, if you don't have retargeting tags on your website and you have no ability to track them around the web afterwards, you're missing out on 96% of customers who would actually buy from you, but they're just not quite ready. So you're missing a lot of sales there. So, add some retargeting tags to your website. There's a bunch of services that do this. One's called AdRoll, one's called Retargeter, and the one that I tend to use most is called Perfect Audience. The reason I prefer Perfect Audience is you can do some cool stuff, like retarget based on people who open your email. Now think about that for a second. So somebody doesn't even need to come to your website to be able to stalk them around the web. If you can just get somebody to open an email with this little cookie in it, you can stalk them around the internet yourself. I've been doing a bit of stuff around that recently with a few of my clients, and most of the time the strategy goes like this. We partner up with another business that has a massive email database. We sponsor an email, we pay them some money to send out an email that's got our content in it out to their few thousand email addresses, and we make sure to include the retargeting tags in there, because even if somebody opens the email and doesn't click on a button or do anything or even visit the website, we can still hit them with ads over and over and over and over and over again. The second thing you can do is you can show a sequence of ads over time. Is anyone here in the B2B space, selling to big corporates? Yes, big long sales cycles. It's been there, it's not easy. So when those deals take a long time to close, quite often you just get forgotten about because people get busy, there's so much going on. So being able to stay top of mind will noticeably improve your conversion rate and lead to more sales and more money in your pocket. So what you can do with retargeting is show a sequence of ads over time. And the best way I've seen this used in a B2B setting is where you've got people displaying testimonials. So you send a guy an email saying, hey, just a reminder, here's that proposal we spoke about on Friday, whatever. As long as they open it, they don't even need to respond. Now you've got them retargeted. Now, when they go home and they check on that same device, maybe it's a laptop they bring home with them, and they're on the footy forum that they check out on a Friday night when they're home at work, guess what ads are showing up on the right-hand side? It's saying, by using XYZ company, we lowered our cost of acquisition by 25%. You think, oh, okay, that sounds good. The next day, they see another ad by a different customer saying, by using XYZ company, or I'd recommend XYZ company to all my friends. They've been amazing. We've been a client for years. So what you can do is, over a period of days and weeks and months, you can subconsciously build up this trust and belief in your product. And all they had to do was open an email. If you are a startup and you're looking at raising money from investors, I haven't seen anyone actually do this yet, but logically it should still work. You send an email to a prospective investor. And when they go and visit their footy forum, guess what pops up? We've now got 20,000 users. This is what our traction looks like. These are our terms. Here's who's leading the round. And you can add all this social proof and all of these testimonials and other things just to keep top of mind. So, those are my retargeting tips there. The perfect audience will allow you to retarget via email. I'm pretty sure AdRoll doesn't. You can only retarget display ads based on Facebook or based on website visits. So yeah, check out Perfect Audience. Banner ads generally don't work. People suffer from a thing called banner blindness. You know where the banners are going to be, you filter out the ads and you just don't even really look at them. What retargeting does is add a level of trust and familiarity to that. So you're only ever seeing, sorry, what's a better way of explaining this? It dramatically improves the click-through rate and the conversion rate of display ads because it's a website they've been to before, or a brand they're familiar with, or a product they saw once somewhere else. So growth hack number 2 is influencer outreach, which I not so jokingly refer to as audience hijacking. I think that sounds much sexier, don't you? So, audience hijacking. In the world, there are lots and lots of people who have a particular following or an audience. They are bloggers, they are Twitter celebrities, they're vloggers on YouTube, and for whatever reason, they have an audience of people who like them, trust them, and are interested in their content and view their content regularly. The fastest way to build your own audience is not to try and do it organically. I mean, you can write great blog posts and make amazing videos and stuff like that. The fastest way to grow your audience is to just find somebody else who has a similar audience and divert it towards your content. So, let me give you an example of this, and I'll show you this on the next screen. Essentially, the way this works is you take somebody who has written a piece of content. Has anyone ever read The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss? Yes, good. If you haven't, you probably should. It's amazing. Tim Ferriss also wrote another book called The 4-Hour Chef and The 4-Hour Body. And what this guy did, I don't know, can you see that down the back, or is that a bit faint? It might be a little bit faint. I'll read it out for you. So what this guy has done is he's written a blog post about his results on The 4-Hour Body. So he says, Tim Ferriss, thanks for helping me lose 50 pounds. This is my story, link to blog post. Now for Tim Ferriss, he's got money, okay? You could offer to buy him lunch, he's not going to retweet you. You could offer to pay him, he's probably not going to retweet you. But if you can validate what he's saying, if you can give him more credibility, if you can help him build his personal brand, that's valuable to him. And there are influencers everywhere, not just Tim Ferriss. I just thought that was a great example. So it looks a bit like this. You write a piece of content, maybe it's a video, maybe it's a blog post, maybe it's something. You reach out to an influencer for whom that bit of content is relevant. So maybe if you came to an event tonight, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, you could come to an event tonight, you could write a blog post about what you learned at said event, and then you could tweet me and say, hey Ryan, thanks for putting on that event. Here's what I learned. I wrote a blog post about the 3 top tips that I got out of your event. And for me looking at that, I think, I'm awesome, great, I'll share that. But even on a more serious level, for me to be able to share that with my followers is kind of proof that, hey, I know what I'm talking about. Here's what somebody else reckons I'm awesome. It's a testimonial, effectively. So what you can do is you can write down a list of all of the influencers in your niche. There's a tool called BuzzSumo you can use to identify influencers based on hashtags or keywords or platforms or topics or anything. BuzzSumo. And once you find these influencers, you want to figure out where they're most active. Do they mostly post on Facebook or Twitter? Do they mostly just post on their blog? What do they do? And then try and find something that they wrote or did. Maybe it's a slideshow, maybe it's a blog post, maybe it's a product that you really like, maybe it's an interview that they did with TV, something that you particularly really enjoyed. And now what you do is you create a new piece of content that references that and adds a whole lot of value to it and confirms that, hey, you know, that interview was amazing, I learned this stuff, that product is awesome, it saved me so much time. All you're trying to do is pump them up and validate what they're doing, and then you let them know about it. Hey Tim, Tim Ferriss, thanks for helping me lose 50 pounds. Here's my story, link to blog. Tim Ferriss retweets that, all of his followers see that, click on the link, boom, you've got some traffic. And because Tim Ferriss's followers tend to fit a certain demographic profile, if that's a similar demographic profile to yours, boom, you just got yourself a whole lot of relevant traffic, and it cost you nothing but a few nice words. Perfect testimonials. This particular growth hack actually works really, really well in conjunction with the previous one, influencer outreach. So, testimonials are difficult to get, but they're really valuable for any business to have. So if you're just starting out, and even if you know a little tiny bit about SEO, okay, you understand that building links is a big part of that. And getting links from high authority websites is valuable and something that you're going to be doing quite a bit of. So, here's how it works. You find a business that has a product that you use. The example I'm going to use is Xero. So, accounting software. Every business needs some sort of accounting software. I particularly like Xero, so I really like this. I don't know if they actually do this, but just as an example, they have a testimonials page. And when you go to this testimonials page, and you click on a few testimonials, you read the testimonials, you get a feel for the kind of tone, the kind of content that they mention, the stuff they're looking for. So can everyone see that quote up in the top left? So they've taken a little pithy kind of a one-liner and stuck it up there. So they're looking for a little one-liner, there's a little bit about the company, big photo, all that kind of stuff. So what you do is you break down all of the elements to a testimonial and you copy that. So you send them an email and you say, hey, Xero, I really, really like your product, it's amazing. I wrote you a testimonial for your website. No pressure to use it, but I think it'd be awesome. Here's a link to my website. And in that testimonial, you use the exact same tone that they use in all their other testimonials on the testimonial page. You send them an image of you, that is you smiling, headshot, back against the wall, something like that, same as all the other photos on there. It is exactly the same dimensions as every other image on there. Basically, what you're doing is writing a testimonial, and all they have to do is just copy and paste, and boom, they've got another awesome customer testimonial. They don't have to do any work at all. You're making it as simple as possible. Because collecting testimonials is a real pain in the ass, but if somebody just sends you one and says, hey, your product's awesome, here's a testimonial, I made sure to, that it would all fit on your website, so it should be super easy for you. All they've got to do is copy and paste, they get a testimonial for free, and importantly, you get a backlink from a high authority website to yours, and hopefully some relevant traffic too. So again, I'd like to say that's mine. I stole that straight out of the Rand Fishkin playbook. If you know anything about SEO, Rand Fishkin is kind of the guy. So apart from James Norquay, he's the other guy who knows a bit or two about SEO. So that is the perfect testimonials trick. And what you'll often find is this will lead to better relationships. If you do this first and then you try doing some influencer outreach stuff, you're going to get much better cut through because, hey, you're that guy who said nice things about us publicly on our website, which not everybody is prepared to do. So, alrighty, so that's growth hack number 3. Any questions on that one? Yep. Okay, moving along. Growth hack number 4. And this is, now we're moving on to activation. So, after people have come to our website, now we've got to get them to do something meaningful, like sign up, add to cart, whatever it is. So this particular growth hack is called Lookalike Photos. A lot of people use images on their websites and they use them badly. So what you want to do, there's 2 kinds of photos that work on the internet, as a general rule of thumb. The first kind of photo that tends to work and gets people clicking are hot girls. And that's actually, I'm not, that's kind of a joke. The interesting thing psychologically is that photos of attractive women appeal to both women and men. Photos of attractive men don't appeal to guys generally unless they're gay. I had a conversation with a female friend of mine and I was asking her, so when you're on Facebook and all that kind of stuff, do you see like ads for all these squillion dating sites? I get this all the time being a guy on Facebook. And she said, yeah, sometimes. And then she showed me them. And what's really interesting about them versus the kind of ads that you'd see as a guy is, as a guy, there's a whole bunch of hot chicks saying, join our dating site, meet all these women. And you know none of the women on there are actually going to look like it says on the box. But when my friend showed me what her feed looked like, it doesn't show photos of lots of hot guys. It showed photos of lots of happy couples. You see, and the point she kind of made was, if I just saw this really hot looking dude, I'd just assume he's like this player and that's not really appealing for me. But if I can see that there is this attractive guy and there's this attractive girl who's with him and looks happy, oh, okay, that's the end result, that's what I'm after. Okay, so anyway, that was a tangent. Coming back now, so the other kind of images that work on the internet are photos of people who look like your intended user. So this is an example from Elance. It's a little bit old now, but Elance is now Elance Odes. They merged with another company. And it's cut off on the right. So on the right, can you kind of see this half of a button that's been cut off? So Elance, for anyone who's not familiar with it, is a freelancer marketplace. So if you need to hire a programmer, you can go onto Elance, post a job, hey, I need a mobile app developed. You get a whole bunch of people from all over the world putting in job applications, you pay them a certain amount of money, they go and build it, you manage it. But it's a way of finding people and with skills on demand. So this is the sign-up portal for freelancers. So if you're a prospective freelancer and you want to pick up some more work, this is the web page you go to in order to sign up to Elance. So we have Artem from the Ukraine. So here's the thing, okay? This guy is wearing a leather jacket. He looks cold. If he was in the middle of the desert, you probably wouldn't believe he's from Ukraine, right? He also looks kind of web developer-ish, okay? I thought that was diplomatic. Point being, he's not lifting like 200 kilo barbells above his head or anything like that. Can you imagine, okay, if you got this guy selling creatine or bodybuilding supplements? It wouldn't work, right? Because he does not look like the intended audience. If you are a web developer or a freelancer, particularly from an Eastern European country, yeah, okay, this guy might very well look like you. So the second thing I want you to notice here is look at where his eyes are, and more importantly, look at where he's gazing. He's gazing up towards the headline up there. So psychologically, people follow other people's gazes. So you want to see where somebody else is looking and you'll follow their eyes. And I've just ruined this for you because the next time you're on Facebook and you see those horrible right column ads that nobody ever clicks on, all of them, the photo will be of a person looking at the text to make you read the text. Here is another example from Kissmetrics. So Kissmetrics is an analytics tool a lot of online marketers and growth hackers use. It tells you about what people are doing on your website. So here we go. Does this guy look like he might be in charge of marketing at a tech company or a startup? Yeah? He's not wearing a collared shirt. That's the giveaway. Not wearing a suit. And he's smiling and looks happy, but look at where his eyes are looking. He's looking up at that text right there. So he's looking at what they want you to read. So where I'm going with this is once people come to your website, if you want them to do something, click on a button, sign up, whatever it is, try using photos of people who look like your intended audience, and you'll probably see a boost in conversions. That's a general rule of thumb, always test it out, but it's something to consider. And here is our lucky last, growth hack number 5. Tell them why. Has anyone ever signed up using Facebook or Twitter, but mostly using Facebook, and later found out that that particular app that they signed up to was spamming their Facebook friends, posting all sorts of stuff on their wall? Particularly, so a lot of the examples that I use, I teach a couple of classes on growth hacking around the place. I like using examples of online dating sites because they got so many problems. It's actually really, really interesting as a case study. But one of the biggest problems they have is They want you to connect using Facebook so they can connect into and create all these viral loops where you refer friends and all that kind of stuff. Thing is, if you're single, you don't exactly want to broadcast to everybody on Facebook that you're not getting any, because that's not something you really want to disclose publicly. So, before you ask somebody to give you information, you need to explain why, or what you're going to do with it, or what are your intentions with my data. That was a bit of a joke, you'll get it in a second. Think of like a big scary dude with a shotgun sitting on a porch. What are your intentions with my data? There we go. That was a pity laugh. So, I'll show you some examples in a second, but this applies to everything. So this is not just if you're asking people to connect their Facebook or their Twitter or their LinkedIn accounts. And there are a whole bunch of reasons. You might say, look, this will make filling out your profile faster. We need this to verify that you're a real person. This helps improve the quality of our network so that we've got real people on here. It might be because we want to pull a whole lot of data to save you having to enter it all manually. Whatever the reason is, just make sure you explain it up front before you ask for that information. Here's an example from, it's pretty much a dating concept. It's a little bit different though. It's called Grouper. And essentially what they try and do is facilitate real life, real world meetups. So they say you get a group of 3 guys and 3 girls and you'll go out for a drink together. That's the concept. So all you need to do is find 2 friends of the same sex and they'll pair you up with 3 people of the opposite sex and you all go out and you meet up and hopefully something comes of that. Now, they only let you sign up with Facebook. Over here, they even say apply for membership, as if they're going to turn you down. But they only allow you to apply for Facebook, and that's because that whole bring a friend thing is really, really crucial to this business. It wouldn't function without it. So they force you to sign up with Facebook, which is fine, but they probably saw a massive drop-off rate. A lot of people came to that page and thought, what are you going to do with my Facebook data? Don't really want my friends to know I'm looking for a date with a couple of random girls. Maybe not. So what they did was they stuck a little sentence down the bottom here. If you can't read that down the back, I can't read it up the front, but I'm short-sighted. It says, we'll never post to your wall or anything lame. We'll never post to your wall or anything lame. So now, as a visitor to this website who badly needs a date, I can come over here and go, cool, my friends are never going to find out about this. How much of a single loser, depressing I am, crying myself to sleep. Anyway, that got a bit personal for a second there. So what we're doing there is we're explaining to people, if you sign up with Facebook, we're not going to do anything stupid. We're not going to send you spam. We're not going to message all your friends. We're not going to post anything to your wall. It's fine. It's okay. And then as a user, you think, okay, cool. That minimizes my risk. I'm okay with that now because you've explained to me what you're going to do with my data. So, growth hack number 5 is tell them why. And that's the end of my presentation. My name's Ryan Wardell. I do growth hacking consulting around the place. I like working with startups. I do some work for corporates too. If you're interested in having a chat, flick me an email. I've also got a blog. A lot of people have asked me to do just like the basics of online marketing because there's a lot of blog posts and stuff out there, but there's no one really easy go-to place where you can learn basic online marketing skills. So I'm putting together a bit of a video series there. So if you are interested in getting early access to that, read free access to that, go to my blog, startupsource.com, sign up for the mailing list, and I'll send you an early copy of that.